What is going on, everybody? We'll give people a few more minutes to get in. I know some of them are just getting the VIP link right now. So we'll get started probably about 8:10, and we'll make sure everybody has enough time to answer all their questions.
I just wanted to make this comment real quick while we're waiting for everybody. I know that you probably saw me in the chat. Chris is one of the gentlemen who was on the last session, the public session, but he had already bought the course and had not gone through it. And so I will tell you, for day 2 and day 3, the most impactful way you can participate in this is to have gotten the course and to go through it. That way, when you come to the Q&A session, and let me be clear, you're not going to be able to get through it all because it's a lot of information, but just to be able to start going through it, to browse it, to look it over, and then to be able to write down your questions and bring them to this private Q&A chat is really helpful, because you're going to have questions that you didn't know you had until you get into the course, until you get into the development. And I'll tell you, even being Chris's partner, he's not available unlimited hours, right? So this hour, these 3 hours that we're getting are very valuable, and I don't know when this will happen again, if ever. So if you are thinking about getting this course, you think it might be helpful, I would suggest you get it and try to ask as many questions as possible, because when else are you going to get the opportunity? So that's just my 2 cents for anybody that's thinking about doing this, because it's a whole project, and I want you guys to not have as many challenges as I have had. Even having all the support and knowledge that I've had, it's still challenging. And of course, you just heard Chris talk about how, he spent $40,000-$50,000 in lessons, that he's put that information into giving it to course attendees. So I will repost the link for anybody who wants to be a part of the course. Let me grab it for you. Raquel, here you go. And if anybody else needs it, there it is. If you have questions, more detailed questions, feel free to email me. I'm gonna jump off camera for just 2 more minutes until I just sent out that email. So I want to make sure everybody got it, and that if they have any questions, that I'm responding to their emails in real time. So just give me 2 seconds, guys. I'll be right back. We'll get started, and we'll go a little bit over if we need to, just to make sure that all your questions are answered. All right, guys, I'm glad we waited a second because we did have a couple people that hadn't gotten the link yet. So I am going to be a little bit double duty. I'm still answering emails, but let's get into some questions. What questions, if any, do folks have? You can type them up in the chat, or you can raise your hand and we will call on you to ask your question, which I think is always best because I want to see your faces. I want to know your stories. I want to understand what you're working on and how we can best support you. So I think I saw AJ's hand first. AJ, can you, if you're free to come on camera, feel free. If not, that's okay too. But go ahead with your question.
Hey guys, thanks for taking my question. So I really have, it's really specific. So I've already purchased some land. I want to build a house on it. It's not going to be for, it's going to be for personal use.
Okay.
I've already gone through, I got my plans pretty much done. I just haven't submitted them to get approved yet. I want to fully pay off the land before I actually build. But the main issue that I'm coming up on is funding, is specifically in Houston or in Texas. Most of the lenders need a contractor on record, I believe is the term. So I don't know if you have any ideas on, you know, how to get around that, how to get that funding if you want to be a owner builder.
No, I think you definitely, you want that on your team. They're actually making you do that because it's protecting you, right? Because if an architect gives you a price for this construction, but then you go out and talk to all the really highly qualified contractors or builders and their price is higher, then the amount of money you may have gotten may not be enough. The timeline that you have the money may not be enough. So it's very important that you do find that good contractor first. Do you have a full set of plans yet, or where are you?
I have the full set, the engineering drawings, all of that. So I was trying to cut that aspect of like that custom builder, right? Like I want to manage the project, right? And I want to, you know, get out all the different subcontractors, whatever, to cut that, you know, 20-30% that the custom builders upcharge.
You have experience already?
No.
Okay, yeah, so that is going to be the challenge. You may be able to find financing, but that financing is going to take into account the risk of you not having that experience. So that probably won't be a traditional bank in this market right now. That's going to be like a private lender, a hard money lender that'll charge, you know, 12-15%. But they are still going to want to know that you have somebody on the team with some experience, you know, because I mean, you think about it from their perspective. Yes, you bought the land, but then the house cost, they're going to give you $200,000. And you're saying, well, I haven't done this before, but I'm pretty sure I have a good grasp on what to do. They're going to say, well, that might not be enough for us to feel comfortable giving you all this money, you know?
Yeah.
So it is going to be a bit of an uphill challenge. Another creative way you could do it would be to partner with somebody that has the cash to do it and then refinance once it's done. But then they're probably gonna want a percentage, you know, they're not gonna do it for free.
Right,
so
right.
You really have to weigh all those options. And just understand this, AJ, all of my students so far that have completed the course, none of them were contractors. I gave all of them really solid, good contractors, and they still walked in with over 100 grand in equity. And these are small houses, 1,800, 2,000 square feet. So I don't know how big your primary residence is going to be, but sometimes, you know, try to what you think in your head is going to save money. You get one trade walk out on you, one trade mess something up that has to be fixed by another, and somebody has to go back behind them. You're gonna eat up all of that potential savings that you think you had by trying to do it that way this time, you know. So I'll just, you got to weigh all those options seriously.
So one more question to that. So in your course, do you have like a network of contractors or trusted, you know, folks you used in the past that you kind of?
Yeah. So if you complete the course, and that's really the contractors I work with, they won't even deal with anybody unless I've taken them that far. Because a lot of people just don't know what they don't know, and these contractors end up spinning their wheels with people that have no experience and don't really know what they're doing, and they get burnt out really quickly. They prefer just to work on their own projects, but they trust my referrals, and they see what the content is that I'm making sure everybody knows. And so at that point, they're a lot more comfortable saying, "Okay, Chris, we'll entertain this group." And a lot of them have their own financial relationships too. So like this is the real key difference. The guy Terrence on my page who built the duplex, and he's about to build 3 more duplexes. The contractor that I introduced him to actually brought him to her financing contact. Tasha is a female contractor, but she brought him to her financing contact, and that's how he got his project funded. He had tried to go to a couple of credit unions, a couple of banks, and nobody would fund it. But because of her relationship and the amount of projects she already had in the pipeline with this one lender, they funded the deal for them. And so, but they also, these contractors also understand that, you are not trying to pay full retail price like you're buying a KB custom home. They want to make sure you have equity and everything left in the project at the end. They just want to make sure that it's worth their time.
Okay. Well, I appreciate the insights.
No problem.
Thanks for the question. I appreciate you guys asking questions because it makes it easier for everybody else to learn when they're coming up against the same challenges. I know it'll be helpful for me if I ever encounter that situation or if I know someone who does. I see Deanna's hand up next.
Hey, Deanna, you can come off mute. There you go. Uh-oh, we can't hear you, Deanna, if you're talking. And maybe, Deanna, try to figure out your sound situation, and we'll come right back to you. We'll go to Joseph. Joseph, what's going on, brother? Uh-oh, that's 2 in a row. Make sure we don't have everybody muted. AJ was talking.
Yeah, let me see if I can send them a request to unmute. Well, oh, there we go. Joseph, it looks like you came off mute.
I don't know if you all are on from your computers or your phones, but you may have to tap the little up arrow by the microphone and make sure it's on the right mic.
I could keep asking questions if y'all want.
Right. Right. Do we have any other questions in the chat that we can answer? Oh, Deanna, yeah, if you want to type your question too, I can still answer it. And both of y'all, if y'all want to type your questions, I can still answer it from the chat. Brittany, do we have everybody in here that paid for VIP, or we still got some people missing?
There's a couple people missing, but I've already reached out to them by email. So I think some people were more concerned with making sure that they could get access to the recordings because they weren't going to be able to make it tonight.
Okay.
So not everybody was planning to be on Zoom.
Okay. Well, yeah, Deanna and Joseph, if y'all can type your questions in the chat.
Yeah, I think my computer is working now.
There we go.
It is.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I was talking on the computer, but then the mic was on my headphones.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So pretty much mine is very like more general question. As in, once I'm done with the course, how do I join the team? Or like, how do you know I'm done and I can join to work with you?
Okay, yeah, that's easy. So yeah, we track everybody's progress. We see like when you take the test and you pass and everything, and then after that, then you can elect to come into, the private mentorship groups. Joe, do you have this is your first project, or have you had projects before this, like in just any area of real estate?
So this is not my first project. I've been following for a while. Actually, you inspired me. Everything that I wanted to do is what you've done.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
everything that I wanted to do pretty much came here as an expatriate diplomatic student, and everything. I was like, oh, once I'm done with school and everything, I'll just jump into like maybe real estate or something. Right after like my grad school, taking my CPA, I started wholesaling actually while I was in school. So I was wholesale. I actually started by doing overages. So I was
Okay.
just like I was doing overages to get money for people and everything. And that helped me pay for grad school. I was like, oh, there's something called wholesaling. I didn't know about that. I was doing it until I later realized that it was wholesaling. And I saw your interview with what's his name? The Nigerian dude. I forgot his name.
Oh, TJ Tajani?
Not TJ Tijani, the other one. He does creative financing.
Oh man, I've done so many interviews, man.
So I saw that, I was like, wait, this is exactly what I want to do. So I've been following you. I actually started like my own, like pretty much like, because I'm in private equity and stuff like that. So I
Okay.
started like, okay, well, maybe let me start fundraising money and everything. I did my first fix and flip. But the problem that happened was that the time to sell was when COVID happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't sell the deal and everything. So I have to find a way to just get, like, I'm going to get into new construction. Ever since, I'm like trying to learn. People took my money for free for courses, mentorship, and everything. I was like, I have to get in touch with you. But everywhere I try, I can't get hold of you. I was like, finally, this is it.
Well, y'all can thank Grant Cardone for that, because he pulled me out of my shell after all the stuff he was pulling lately.
Yeah,
Like I got to get back in the
thank you
game,
for that.
man. I can't leave people hanging like this. So
Yeah, like I spent $50K on mentorship just for new construction. Like, because I want to, my goal is to build 4 family. I realized that there's not attainable housing. So pretty much around like the New Jersey area and everything. So
did you say 60,000?
yeah, like
Wow.
8,000 for someone. I'm like, oh, whatever, and everything. It all happened to just courses. I'm like, wait, what?
Mm.
And I was like, I'm done. I'm just gonna do a wholesaling. But I happened to get more land deals and buildings to sell.
Mhm.
And I also don't like the wholesaling. That's why I get to get the more land deals, because you're taking advantage of people and all this
Right.
kind of stuff. Like I don't see any value. The ones that I was able to, I only make $2,000, so I'm okay with the small money, but it wouldn't get me where I want to go. So I figure, look, the main reason I get in is to do new development, build like 4 families, rent them out, like build, rent, refinance, and just like that. And to get affordable housing, because there's not out there. And
Yeah.
I'm stuck. I'm like, I have the vision, I have whatever, I just don't know how to start.
Yeah. Okay. No. Okay, that makes sense, man. Well, I definitely can help you through that process and going on next steps. I like working with people like you, because you already know what it feels like to lose, right?
Yeah, like I've lost everything.
And you can have value. You understand the value of what we're doing, the price points we're at with everything. Because a lot of people don't understand it, but yeah, the more zeros, the scarier it gets on the wrong side of a deal where you don't have proper guidance or the proper team. But yeah, once you finish the course, everybody has open access to move on to closer working relationships with us, where we can even partner on deals if it makes sense,
Sounds
So,
good.
but yeah, I just like Brittany said earlier, and like I said about my contractors too, we all in the same boat. We only have a limited amount of time every day, and if we're not going to be taking time to, do better for ourselves, and we're trying to help other people, we just don't want to be spinning wheels with a lot of folks that haven't even taken the time to dedicate to actually take advantage of the information we're giving them almost for free, So that's really what it is. I know it's kind of hard on the other side of the table to understand that sometimes, but we have a limited amount of time in a day. We just want to make sure it's a win-win and it's a mutual benefit for everybody.
I'll
Thank you.
also jump in here because I, experienced similar trials and tribulations in terms of like getting someone to help you go through the process and mentorship and all of that. And it took, knowing Chris for a couple years and building a relationship before like I brought him a deal that was workable for him to want to do it. And I was really strategic about even like where I got the deal and what it was. And, it takes some time and some persistence, and it definitely does take going through all the courses and all the programs and like showing your face and building rapport and relationships with people before they're willing to like make that investment of time into working with someone. So I would just encourage you to keep doing what you're doing because you're on the right track.
Yeah, definitely agree. Matter of fact, Joseph, you brought up something a lot of people may not know about. So since this is a VIP session, I want to talk about that a little bit, if you don't mind. The tax overages. That's a niche that a lot of people don't even know exists. So, you know, when guys, so when a property goes into tax foreclosure, if it sells at auction above what's owed to the taxing authority, the person that lost that property is actually due the difference back. And a lot of times people don't know that. And so, you know, there'll be hundreds of thousands of dollars sitting in these escrow accounts for these taxing authorities of people that have not claimed what's rightfully theirs. And that also could be a situation where it could, some of y'all may be able to take advantage of that. If you meet somebody that, you know, if you are partially wholesaling or something, you call them and they're like, well, it actually sold at auction. You might want to go find out what it sold for, and might be able to show them a way to where, you know, hey, I know you thought it was a complete loss, but guess what? There's $10,000 sitting over there for you. And I just happen to have a real estate project I'm working on, and I need a couple of investors. How would you like to take that money that you didn't even know you were going to have and invest it in this project with me? And let's turn it around and make you turn that 10 into 15 or something like that, you know?
Also, before they spend on their well on that, some states you automatically escheat when you lose the money. If it happens to be a tax overages, I think it's 3 out of the 50 states. The state takes the money completely.
Damn, you said 3 states?
Yeah, 3 states. I know New York City is one. The 2 other states I'm still I don't deal with them, so I forgot. But like I think it's either Wyoming or Idaho. One of them is one of them. But New York State is that, and they actually say when you buy a house and all this kind of stuff on the document you sign, if you lose a property taxes, automatically the money is theirs. And then the third thing is out of the 26 or the 27 states also have a statute of limitation. So when you lose a property, you see that when if you know a realtor and you were dealing with on the foreclosure stuff and everything, please tell them not to let these people leave their house before the foreclosure goes through, because they send the letters to these homeowners to come claim their money for 3 months. Some is like 1 week. I think Texas is just 15 days. After 15 days, it goes to the judges, the Supreme Court or whatever, or the city Supreme Court, whatever. They hold it for another 30 days. If you don't come for it, it's escheat. Comes the state's money.
Well, there you go.
There's a statute of limitation. So like if you
Yeah.
know the timeline, you can make a lot of money for funding.
There you go. Some different things we didn't know about. Okay, Ashley.
Wait. I'm sorry. Deanna had put her question in the chat. I wanted to make sure we got to her. She said, realtor finds the land, we pay the commission, but should we also pay the realtor a closing fee, even if it is not negotiated in the contract after the structure has been built?
Absolutely not. That's two completely different transactions. Once you close, if your listing agreement is only required you to pay her or him for that transaction, that's all you're obligated to pay. Now, what I do sometimes though to incentivize realtors is I offer them the opportunity to get both sides of the transaction. Like if you bring me the deal and only charge me 2% instead of 3%, then I'll let you get the listing on the back end and get another 2%. So you end up making 5 or 6% of the land purchase price, because once I'm finished, even though I've taken all the risk and put all the money in, and I'm still only giving you 2%, you didn't have to work at all for that other 2% of a listed home, right? Which is going to be at least double the price, at least double the acquisition cost of the land. So, you know, you get to sit back and do nothing except, well, let me not say do nothing. You still got to do open houses and, you know, entertain buyers, but still it's a guaranteed commission for you. So yeah, I do offer them that opportunity, but I try to negotiate some type of deal that makes sense for both of us. If you bring me the deal, I'll give you the back end if you agree on a discount. Okay.
Sorry, I'm still like sending out emails.
Okay, I got it. Is Brittany Thomas, are you in here? Because you can probably help. But what I think
Yeah, she's
Julian,
here.
I think Julian is next.
Actually, okay, yeah, we can
Is
go,
it-
Julian.
I don't know
Because
if is it not going in order, guys. If y'all look at the top, do y'all see the 3 people with their hands up? Is
I
it in-
see Julian, Kasia, and Nikki.
Yeah, Nanika. Yeah.
Nanika.
Okay.
Hey, what's up, guy? Am I,
Yep.
can y'all
Yep.
hear, can you hear me okay?
Go ahead.
Okay, cool. Julian here from Dallas, Fort Worth. First of all, man, appreciate you guys for putting this together. This is amazing. I saw it come through my IG free. I'm like, what? So Brittany, I was the one hitting Brittany up. I'm like, hold on, I'm driving to Oklahoma right now to my cabin in the woods, but damn, I'm about to jump on it. Can I buy it if I don't make it in time? So we
Yeah.
just got here about a half hour ago and or about an hour or so ago. Anyway, financing questions is what I want to dive into real quick.
Wait a minute.
And-
You're not. That's not your cabin in the woods in the background, is it?
Yeah. Oh shit. Hold on. I thought I blurted out.
That's a nice cabin. A
My
cabin,
bad.
right?
Man, y'all gonna hang up on me now. Come on. No, seriously though. So yeah, it is. So we invest as well. But in Dallas, so I guess my thing is the financing question because I don't want to take everybody's time. So the market that we're in right now in Dallas, I'm sure you guys obviously Houston all over the country. What type of as far as appetite for the banks versus on securing the capital for these smaller single family projects that you guys are doing? I'm not going to get into the large stuff, but what type of terms are you seeing right now? I guess first question.
The terms are still going to be about the same. Of course, with the Fed rates where they are right now, you're looking at what used to be hard money rates. It's like 8.7% for new construction right now. But having a good contractor that's less than 1% a month by the time you're under construction. If you finish in 3 or 4 months, it's not really that much taken away from your deal. And then if you do qualify for conventional, they're still only charging like half a point up front of origination versus going through hard money where you're at like 12% and paying 2 points, right?
And I'm assuming that's your commercial banker, right? Or you're not talking about buying it as an investment property, 80% LTV. You're talking about commercial financing where they take on the dirt and the vertical.
Yeah. So there's so you're in Dallas. So the bank I use a lot is where they were Allegiance, but they just merged with a bank and that's heavy in Dallas. No, I'm not. That's 2 different banks. The one I'm thinking about is B1 Bank, who just merged with the bank that I use a lot out here called Texas Citizens Bank, and they have a large presence in Dallas, and they'll loan for land and acquisition for those types of rates. Then you got Allegiance, who just merged with another bank, I think Cadence Bank, and it's called Stellar Bank now. But they'll do a lot of that conventional stuff too at those lower interest rates, especially if you already have a track record. And what they did for me is like they gave me up to $1 million in new construction lines of credit for spec builds, but anything that I have under contract already, they'll also give you funding for that. So if you do pre-sales and then you can get 2 or 3 of them sold, they'll fund that for you on top of whatever they'll fund off speculation that you're expecting to sell later in the future. They just, like I said, they just want to know that you know what you're doing, or your team knows what they're doing. If you got a strong contractor and a strong broker, then yeah, they'll have an appetite for working with you on some of that stuff.
So you went right into my last question on the pre-sale. So say for instance, just example right now, I'm in escrow right now in a little single family lot. We've done all the due diligence, ready to go. Hard money guy wants to give us some money to take down the land. I can buy the land cash up front. So just say real numbers, $40,000 for the lot. My construction budget right now, just to give you real numbers, I'm at, $125 a square foot, but we're building an affordable product that's going to be under $300,000 on the resale, but the cost to build on that at $125 a square foot, we're going to be right around $170,000. And that's hard and soft. So 170, we got the lot at 40, we're at 210,000, and we're going to sell it for 280 all day. And so 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,200 square foot is where this market holds. Comps are already on the street, ready to go. Now, my close date is scheduled on the land on the 31st of March. So I'm deciding, do I need to go ahead and my bankers, hard money guys like, hey, we'll do 100% because you're at 75% loan to cost. The ARV is there, yada, yada, but points, fees, all that stuff. It's rates crazy. My commercial guy that I'm talking to, he's like, I got a call actually with him next week, but he's like, man, listen, you may want to just buy it cash because then we can play as the dirt, as equity, and then we'll finance. I'm waiting to see what he says on the loan to cost and leveraging the dirt equity to where I can get 100% financing on the vertical because the resale value ARV is there. Any take on that, buying it cash or just go into the deal saying, hey, listen, why tie up my cash 40,000 and then I got to have carrying cost reserves? I'm curious to know your take. Your take on that, or do I just go in first by saying, hey, I got 60,000 in the bank. I could clearly buy this 40,000 cash. Should I keep it in the bank? The lot is already lot sell across the street, 55,000, the same size lot. So I've already got 15 equity in the dirt, right? So do I go in saying, hey, do an appraisal on the land, the value's there, I got 15K equity, my cost to build is 170, resale to 280. Should I just keep my cash or just kind of, what would you think the play is on that? I guess real high level.
So my first question is, does that commercial bank also do residential mortgages?
They do, but they don't offer the program that I'm looking at doing with another bank. So the other bank I wanted to do, so the short answer, no, they don't. They do, but it's not the CRA stuff that I would do 100%, no PMI 600 credit score stuff that another bank is offering for the end buyer. Their stuff is straight traditional, 3% conventional, FHA, VA type stuff, which in this area, it's going to be tough to get that with the buyer. Yeah,
because I was going to say, I mean, you got to weigh all the different criteria, because in an ideal situation, what you would do is, let's say so you said 280, but what's that per square foot? Do you know? It's like
280 divided, it's 1150 square foot.
Oh, yeah, hold on. You about to be good. Let me see. 280 divided by 1150.
3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1 car,
Okay, so
detached garage.
That's 243 a square foot. Okay, and you said 125 to build divided by 243. You're at 51%.
Yeah, I'm there
all day.
Real.
All day, I would buy it cash, right? But then in your construction budget, add in a project management fee for yourself, right? So then you get the loan at the lower commercial rate versus hard money in case it does take longer to sell. Whatever, we don't know. We really don't know where interest rates, all that stuff are going. So it's better to hedge your bet. But you can pad your construction costs by another 15% and still be below that 75% mark and still recoup your money throughout the project construction process. You follow me?
I follow you. And so the approach that I initially was kind of like how you mentioned the team aspect, because I can go in the background, maybe another conversation. I'm gonna take your class if it's 500. As you know, the value on that, you could 10x that if you want it, right? So thank you for that opportunity to get in at that price, if that's what it is. But number two, I was gonna say the team part, right? Got a girl project manager, flat fee, $2,000, boom. I thought about bringing her on so I can be hands off. My GC is the one building at 125 a square foot, and he's doing 10% loan to cost on his fee, is a GC fee. That's how I got to the 170.
170. Okay.
But nonetheless, so I was having that approach, and I thought it kept me within that 75 is what I'm understanding, if I'm understanding everything correctly. So I got the call with the commercial banker. What's today? Well, this Wednesday.
Because let's see, 170, I think at 170, you're still below, let's see, divided by 280. Yeah, that's still 60%. So you still got 10%.
In the dirt, but buy the dirt cash. So then we're talking, okay.
Okay, let's see, what's 280 times 0.1? Yeah. So you can pull over half of your cash investment out during the term of construction just by saying, this extra 20,000 is my project management fee on the project, or however they feel comfortable. Maybe you pad some of the other costs from your contractor, where every time they give you a draw, you only owe the contractor 4,000, but they're gonna cut your check for 6,500. So you're recouping your money.
Done. I got you. I caught all that. Yeah. Because the thing, that's my soft cost, right? That's my architecture fee. That's my geo. That's my potential retaining wall I might have to put because it's slope, but I think I can get around that. Okay, thank you for that. I'm done.
No problem. There we go. All right.
So I thought Ciasia was next, but she put her hand down. I want to know if that was on purpose.
Greetings, it was. I'll go ahead and ask. So I recently became a certified general contractor in Florida. I've been in construction since 2016, and we mainly do masonry work. But I'm interested in getting into the developer space with regard to affordable housing. So I really wanted to know, how does the course, or if the course really breaks down that aspect of it for what you do in Houston with the affordable housing?
No, this is more focused on new construction specifically. If you're
Okay.
already, if you're a contractor, we probably could talk about some other way to work together. But this is mainly teaching people that maybe want to be more investors and don't want to take the time to be the contractor,
Got it.
and leverage that. But I mean, if you do want to be the contractor, I still can show you how to build the right team, and there's still other components of it that you would need. But if you're focused more specifically on affordable, that's more of a deep conversation on financing than anything. That's really the only difference, because the house is built the same, the costs are the same, but you just have to learn how to subsidize those costs, and understand that you have a different mission than the other people in this group, which is not a bad thing, because I do both types of projects, but I feel like we have the biggest deficit of people who know how to do new construction at all. So that's why I'm focused on that now. And maybe later I'll do something else specifically on affordable housing. But then again, I mean, if you're saying affordable and all the difference is that you want to build it and keep it, and you just want to figure out how to leverage Section 8 or things like that, project-based voucher programs, then yeah, this course still would work for that. It's just the exit strategy. But if you're talking more about like how to do a low-income housing tax credit deal or something like that, that's different.
That's different. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that information.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, and then I think next is Nanika. And then Ashley, and then Julian, if you have additional questions, we'll come back to you. And I don't see Nanika anymore, actually.
Oh, she just dropped. I just saw her on here.
I saw her too.
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe she'll log back in. Ashley, I know you had a question as well. Would you like to come off mute? I see you, but I can't
Yeah,
hear you.
Can't hear you. It's not working. You want to type it in the chat, Ashley? Okay, so they should type it in the chat.
Sorry, guys. I don't know why that's happening for some people.
Okay, let's see. So Ashley gonna type her. I see Raquel just raised her hand, so let's let her go. Ashley finishes typing her question. Hopefully, Nico come back.
Hi, Chris. This is just to piggyback off of the low income housing. If you do a course, my question is, when you do your low income housing, are you doing them in opportunity zones?
My current project, and actually everything I've been doing in Houston, they are in opportunity zones. But taking advantage of an opportunity zone incentive is a little bit complex, because it's several layers to that funding. The first layer is to qualify as an investor to benefit from an opportunity zone, you have to be investing money that's a capital gain from something else. So you have to either sold the stock, sold the business, sold some real estate, whatever, and you have capital gains. Then this is an IRS protection code for those group of individuals, where they can then take their money and roll it into a fund that specifically invests in these low income demographic neighborhoods. In exchange for that, they get to defer their capital gains tax for like 7 years off of the initial transaction that they used to put into the fund. Then after that, whatever they invest in is 100% tax exempt. So whatever profits they make off that is tax free. So the way it benefits a lot of us, like on my big development project right now, I have found one of those funds, and that fund needs to find projects to invest into. However, since they're managing so much money, they prefer to look at larger projects. So if you're doing, maybe a small build for rent community, that may make sense. Apartment complex may make sense. I haven't run across too many of them that are investing in, smaller single family type projects yet. But who knows what may happen in the future. But yeah, so it's great to know that that's at the table. Now, if you can't benefit from it directly, if there are opportunities on projects going on around your project, and it's a bunch of new construction coming, new apartment complexes, all that kind of stuff, then you may benefit from value appreciation from that. But the true low income housing programs that are targeted more towards single family and smaller, like fourplexes, duplexes, those types of things, don't really receive a real benefit from opportunity zone funding.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, Julian's back. Go ahead.
Julian, you have another
Yes, that's
question?
good.
And after Julian, can you talk a little bit about affordable housing financing in terms of like what products are available, where you source information and resources to make something an affordable housing project? But we can come back to that. Julian, you go
Okay.
ahead.
Before he loses this train of thought, let Chris go ahead and elaborate on that, and then I'll come back. If that's
Okay.
cool with y'all.
Okay, so it's mainly more so around the exit strategy. You're when you go to a bank and say, hey, I plan to make something affordable, they're like, okay, that's a good mission and all, but we want our money back. We want to make sure that whatever rent you're projecting to charge, that you have a debt service coverage ratio of at least 1.2. So if you're making $100, we want to, and no, if you owe us $100, we want to see you making at least $120 in that increment. So if your mortgage payment is $1,000, they want to know that you got $1,200 to allocate towards it. The only way you get around that or mitigate that is if you're partnered with some type of entity that's going to be subsidizing either the cost of construction so that you owe the bank $800 a month, or they are going to be subsidizing your rent payments, where you may be charging the tenant $1,100, but then you're in some type of either Section 8 approved program or project-based voucher program, whereas like Section 8, but the landlord is the customer, the landlord is the client. And so that's what I'm working on right now with our project, where we're charging rents of $550 for a 1-bedroom, $600 for a 1-bedroom. We're charging $750 for a 2-bedroom. The housing authority is bringing us into their project-based voucher program, where they're going to match the difference up to $1,100 for the 1-bedrooms and $1,400 for the 2-bedrooms. So then now when I go back, when you're trying to get financing, the bank says, okay, we see not only do you have enough projected revenue, but your revenue for that gap is a lot more secure than a tenant with a job because it's a public entity. So those types of projects make your financing on the back end a lot easier because the banks feel more comfortable saying, okay, we'll qualify you for the refinance. So if you're using private money or investors on the front end, they're more comfortable because they say, okay, well, we know the bank's going to refinance you out. And so it makes everything a lot more palatable for everybody. If you're doing for sale housing, then that's when you can partner with city entities like land banks or any other entity that will sell you land below cost, but then put a cap on what you can sell it for. So if a lot, like Julian said, he buy a lot for 40. Well, in Houston, those lots that would usually cost 40, the land bank will sell it to you for 10. Okay, but they sell it to you for 10,000, they're gonna tell you at the end of the project, you got to take $30,000 or $40,000 off of the market rate price of a house in that neighborhood. So technically you don't make any more money, but the sales price is more affordable, and they've basically partnered with you and allowed you to have an all-in cost that's a little bit lower than what it would have been had you been doing it on your own. All right, go ahead, Julian. I think we're good.
Sorry, I got a animosity with our current land bank out here in Dallas. We have an area called West Dallas, which revitalized. Now it's gentrifying, unfortunately. I'm a big advocate for revitalization versus gentrification. Back then, our land bank, you can get those lots for $5,000. I had a builder, I took it from concept execution on his plan. We're building houses for $100,000 and selling for $169,900, which was amazing in this area. Wow. It was the first modern design house. I was the broker on it. He was the builder. But that land bank deed restricted those lots to where the end buyer couldn't make no more than $55,000. So what happened was in that area, that modern, sexy house, people that grew up in there, people like me and you and everyone on this call, you know, young professionals, you know, that we couldn't afford them because we made too much money. I had to tell them no because they didn't fit the box. The people that were buying them figured out the gray area. It was a lady in this very upper echelon area. She millionaire basically, but she had a business and she wrote everything off and she didn't look like us. And she said, oh, I know I can buy it. Here's my contract and here's all my income verification. She had her CPA write it out right below the threshold. And then it was a 3-year wait. And when that area started gentrifying, what they end up doing later, that same house, she sold it after that 3-year mark for triple the price she got it for. And we couldn't get in there because my young attorneys who they grew up in the area with their grandmother, made too much money. So that's a little sour taste in my mouth for the land bank. Anyway, second question I had for you was about the establishing a fund, private fund, as we continue to scale and grow. I work in sports entertainment as a broker, and I have a lot of guys coming back that grew up in these areas that we call emerging markets, right? A lot of opportunity, and yet I'm not one to just take people's money because we're doing something everybody wants to come back and revive it. I want to be careful about it. So I don't know if that's something that's in your course or is that something we can take offline, but establishing a private fund and doing it the right way, the people that go into that, you know, you hear accredited investors and all this stuff, but my guys, like, I mean, we could really do some major change with the financial backing that we have. It's just a matter of, you know, making sure that as I'm identifying these opportunities that we're putting a particular fund together that we can start small and end up scaling it, but just having the right structure in place. Does your course offer that, or is that a whole other conversation?
That's a separate conversation, but you know, since you already said you're getting into the course, we'll be able to help you with that on the back end. So Brittany and I both work with one of the few Black-owned SEC regulated attorney offices in the country, and that's all he does is structure funds. So for any of y'all that know, even when you hear people talk about, well, I got 4 or 5 of my friends to put some money together and we invested in this deal, technically that's illegal because anytime you gather more than two investors' money and you commingle it into one project, you're selling a security. But the federal government, SEC, has given these exceptions where you don't have to go through the whole process of trying to be a publicly traded company in these accepted structures. One of them is Regulation C of crowdfunding. Then you have like a Regulation D fund, a Regulation A fund. But all of these have to be structured with an attorney that drafts all these documents. It's like private placement memorandums and all these different technical terms that basically tells everybody, hey, you understand your money is at risk. You could lose all your money. This is what the projected returns on the project are going to be. This is the timeline for the project. If we run out of money, this is what's going to happen. We have to do what's called a cash call, where we ask all y'all for more money. If you don't want to put more money in, then whoever does put more money in may get a bigger percentage of the returns. So you have to have all that stuff structured out. And it's a whole lot of legal language, a whole lot of legal jargon. But yeah, Julian, we definitely have the teams that can help you structure all that stuff. And that's Brittany actually did that to take down her property cash for the project we're working on.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to hear you say that, Julian, because that is a huge mistake that a lot of people are making. A lot of people are still making. I think people are starting to become more aware of needing to be structured as a fund or a syndication. But it's really easy to do it wrong. And the last article I read about, you know, the types of people that the SEC is like going after, particularly when it comes to putting people in jail, are these securities that are being sold that are not regulated and have not registered with the SEC. And in addition to registering with the SEC, there's also something called Blue Sky. You'll need to register in every state where you have an investor. So our attorney does all of that for you. He's not gonna rake you over the coals on price. He's pretty reasonable. He's very fair. But it's a whole process, a whole thing. But we need to do it in our communities, especially. It needs to happen. We need to be in charge of the finance that goes into the projects that we want to do. We need to have more opportunity to control our deals without having to go to people outside of our communities to get things done. So I'm super excited that that is part of this conversation and that people are having that conversation more often, because it's completely necessary. And I would, if you haven't already explored the difference between syndications and funds, I would definitely do that. And if you do decide to do a fund, I'm not going to give you advice. I'm not an attorney. Why I decided to do a fund was because in addition to my project, I wanted to make sure that I could help fund other projects, particularly projects that were done by Black people in Black communities. And so a syndication would really limit me to a project, whereas a fund allows me to have more control about, where I put what money. And I really like the concept of being able to work with other funds in order to make sure that we're all kind of like, working together. If you have a great deal, but your fund can't quite cover it, great. I'm happy to help, and vice versa. So I just really got excited hearing somebody talk about that, because it's not talked about enough in our communities. So thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate that.
For sure. Thank you, guys.
And Sean, I see your hand raised.
What's going on, Sean? You still on mute, bro?
Can y'all hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Hey, what's up, Chris?
How you been, man? You good?
Oh man, can't complain, man. Little man screaming downstairs. I'll probably dip in a second, but thank y'all for putting this together, man. I saw it come through my IG and I was like, oh yeah, definitely gotta jump on this. Been kind of like in that analysis paralysis phase for way too long now. Yeah. So just kind of figuring out ways to really just take that leap and jump, and like what better time than the present. So I guess my question is two-part, more of a process question. Is like, do you see any value in like me, or what best ways could I leverage my real estate license, if any, in this process in the new development space? And then, far as finding the land, people that are, busy, like yourself, you were in school, you had a kid, like how do you get in this space with the time constraints, finding the land, finding space, and then like kind of going from there? Like, I guess that's my two-part question. Is it just wholesalers you're working with, or is it just like, is the MLS useful? Is it prices too marked up already by the time it hits the MLS?
You're on mute. Go ahead, Brittany.
Can I answer that? That's such a great question. And I tell people all the time, deals aren't found, they're made. Like, my deal was on the MLS. It was overpriced. I negotiated it to make it a deal for me. So people are quick to discount the MLS, but honestly, by the time you work with a wholesaler and they've put their $10,000 fee on it or whatever, it'll probably be around the same price as you would find it on the MLS, unless it's like an absurdly good deal, right? So my suggestion is make sure you have all your MLS alerts on, and that you are really like staying in tune to the community, and that you have really good relationships with wholesalers in the areas that you want to be, and then know how to underwrite your deal so that you know what the price needs to be for it to be a deal for you, because everybody's pricing also looks different. Like, because of my connection with Chris and because we're doing this project together, I have cheaper building prices than most people would get because he has a relationship with the builder. Everybody can't take the same project at the same price. So knowing your numbers is super important.
Yeah, that was a great answer. And then I'm add on to that and say, a year and a half ago, I would tell you it would be a challenge. But like the property Brittany found, it had been on the MLS for what, maybe like a year, Brittany, or half a year, 180 days, something like that.
Yeah, it was probably like 6 months. It was a long time.
Yeah. So right now, Sean, it's even worse because a lot of investors and builders are still scared. So they've pulled off the market. So all these landowners that thought they were going to get these astronomical prices based off of the highest and most recent sale are not realizing those sales right now. So they're all getting to a point to where they are looking to exit, especially if they have expense burdens tied to those properties. So you can go in and negotiate some really good deals. But yeah, everything Brittany said is accurate. Some wholesalers will find good deals. Some wholesalers are still greedy. So you really, you just got to balance both worlds, man, and see, and figure out. I don't know what market are you in?
So I live here in the Heights area.
Oh, in the Heights. Okay.
But yeah, just looking to get started wherever
Yeah.
it makes sense in Houston area, starting home base first. Or
Okay.
even back home where we're from, Beaumont, Port Arthur area. Like,
Yeah.
only thing about that area is like I feel like the home values don't appreciate much.
Yeah, no, they don't. I'll tell you right now, the only market that's really hot right now is Orange, Texas, because Chevron's building that new facility, and they're building a new port, and there's like gonna be like 8,000 employees out there, whole new refinery. So Orange is popping real heavy right now.
Wow.
Yeah, outside of that, yeah, you're in the Heights, going north of what's the right side of 610? I can't think the name of it.
Shepherd, they built Shepherd for now it's like called Independence Heights or something.
Independence Heights. Yeah, Independence Heights is a good area. Of course, Fifth Ward, Acres Homes, all those areas, and Sunnyside too. A lot of those lots aren't going for the premium that they were going for before. So there's still opportunities there as well. Yeah. But yeah, as a realtor, I mean, even if you're gonna do like 2 or 3 at a time, depending on who you're using for financing, sometimes you can even include your commission as part of your revenue. So it looks like, you're making even more money off the deal. So then that helps the bank underwrite, your exit strategy better,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Or you can even take your commission from the closing of the acquisition of the land towards the down payment on the land too, if you're trying to finance that part.
And also let me put a plug in your ear since you're in the area. Chris and I, if you didn't see his post, I guess it was last week at this point, maybe when he talked about us doing this masterclass, I have a project that I'm working on where, replatting it now to have it hopefully at least 5 homes on the land, but we're really considering allowing other folks to come in, buy those plots and do their new build with us. So we'd have the plans and everything. I just really think it's important to share the opportunity that I've gotten to learn with other people. So since you're in the area, that might be something that you decide you want to do. So just stay plugged in, stay in tune with us.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. Thank you both.
Welcome.
No problem.
I don't want to snipe Sean's deal, but all right, is the so you guys would have like the specs for the other homes would be like just the same, and then basically the interior is the difference?
Yeah, well, I mean, the interiors might be pretty similar. We're basically going to get everything construction ready, and then instead of, because I mean, initially what happened, I don't know if most of y'all were on the call earlier. Our timeline has been extended a little bit because we're waiting on the city to reroute this stormwater line, and so some of the initial investors we had in the deal, we don't really want to drag them out for an extra year. So we came up with the concept of, well, let's just sell a couple of the lots, let other people participate, but everything will be shovel ready. And we'll have a contractor that's ready to build all 5. You just come in with your own financing, or we help you get the financing for those 2. We can buy the other investors out. There's less carry that we have for the 2 to 3 that we build, and other people can participate in the process. And it's still going to be a win-win for everybody. So that's really just a speculative approach where we de-risk it for everybody.
Okay, so you'll pay for the lot and then fund the full construction of your town.
Yeah, for the ones that we're running. Yeah. So we already own, like I said, Brittany raised the money already. So we own the property free and clear. There's a few investors involved that were going to stay in for the entire length of the project. But I was just talking to Brittany about, the opportunity where it could be even a greater benefit long term, by letting other people come in and be a part of the vertical construction. And we'll still work with you on those deals, we'll still be kind of a partner in it, but it de-risks it tremendously, and you'll get to see what it's like to work with a set team that's already proven and has everything cooking on all cylinders. And it's really the best way to learn, like learn and earn at the same time, So
Yeah. We'll go half on it, Sean.
There we go.
That's
Does
perfect.
anybody else have any questions before we close out for the night? I just want to also congratulate Narek. I think I saw her purchase the course. So congratulations to you. Go ahead.
Hey.
Oh, I was just gonna say thanks, Brittany. Yep. I'm like looking through it right now. It's really informative. Yep.
Yeah, no problem.
Awesome.
Try to get through as much as you can over the next day or two, and bring all your questions, because it helps everybody to learn, number one, but it really accelerates your learning curve when you have the opportunity to come back and ask questions in real time while you're learning. And then I saw Deanna, you mentioned earlier that you had already bought it, and thank you for saying how fantastic it is. It's not my course, but I think it's fantastic too. And I'm excited actually to add to it. There's like all these ideas I have about case studies we can add and video content we can add. So I'm super excited, and y'all will have access to all of that. Whether you bought it a year ago or you buy it tonight, you'll still have access as we update and improve and evolve and all of those things. So
Oh yeah, Brittany, that is very important, guys. So I want y'all to know this. I have purposely not said this to anybody, but we're going to be documenting Brittany's entire process from planning to start of construction all the way to the sale. And all of that content is going to be added into the course. Once that's done, we're going to double. It's going to be $997 at least. So everybody that has it now, you'll get access to that lifetime with all that additional information. So you'll be able to, if you choose not to do a project right now, you will still get to walk through a whole project and see how everything goes.
thank you for adding that. I wasn't sure if I was allowed to say that. So I see Brian has his hand up. Do you want to go ahead and come off mute?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
You look like you are working. You look like you are like in grind mode right now.
Just get this light on. It's a little dark. Oh, it's too bright. All right. I met both of you, Chris and Brittany, yesterday at the meetup in Houston.
Yeah.
So it's a pleasure to meet y'all. Thank you for the information tonight. Looking forward to diving into the course as well as the next two master classes. My question is, I want to do build to rent, and I'm curious to know if it's better to go like picking up lot by lot where the infrastructure is already in place, or pick up like a 20 or 30 acre piece of land that doesn't have any infrastructure.
Overhead is always going to be easier if you're picking up lot by lot that's already got infrastructure on it. Pre-development can add a year to your project, and it's a lot of carrying costs. It's a lot of upfront soft costs. But starting off with doing a few, if you could buy like smaller lots, like 10,000 square foot lots, or 5,000 plus, where you can do at least 2 on each property, you're gonna be able to capture a lot of the equity out of those first few, and then you can take that equity and use it to pay for all the upfront infrastructure costs to do a bigger project once you scale. Like my student that I posted a couple of days ago, Brian, you can go look. He was all in for 240. It praised at 400. He pulled 47,000 out and still has 100,000 equity, but the rental revenue still makes the property cash flow, even though he's put 47 back in his pocket. So you do that 2 or 3 times. Now you got 150 grand to go do some initial infrastructure work on a larger parcel of land to then do a bigger project, versus risking all your upfront capital on the first deal.
Got it. Okay, appreciate it.
No problem.
Perfect. Well, I think that's it for tonight, guys. Thank you for coming with all your questions. Please start, if you haven't already, start looking through that course and bringing more questions for tomorrow. And then we will also see you on Thursday for our final session. I don't know that Chris will do this again. It was really hard to get us on the same schedule to do this. So I'm glad that you all got to participate. If you have people in your network who want to participate, please let them know. Like they probably need to get in right now, because it may or may not be a thing going forward. I saw some emails come through about people who are interested in participating in the lots. I will write your names down and keep you updated with everything that is going on with that. And I think that's all. I'm sending out an email with the course link, just in case you didn't see it in the chat. Let me post it in the chat again, just in case you need it. Chris, am I missing anything?
No, I think we're good for the first night. I think it was great. I appreciate everybody's participation. Had some great dialogue, and hopefully have 2 more days of great dialogue. So,
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really, really
and
great.
everybody, we will send out a recording of this for all y'all VIP. So y'all have this, well, both sessions from tonight and everything going forward.
Yep. And the SEC attorney, Joseph, shoot me an email. Better yet, don't email me because my emails are blowing up right now. DM me. I'll make sure you're connected.
DM you on Instagram?
Yes, please.
Will do.
Thank you. All right, guys. We're heading out. We're heading out. I hope you guys have a great night, and thank you again for being here.
All
Good
right,
night,
so-
everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good night.
And good night.
Thank you.